all the allegations that came out in July got looked at on the same scope. They were treated as if they were all on the same level. They tried to like paint the picture that I try to get every girl drunk and then try to like have sex.
This was basically a Bill Cosby scenario 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people said that, oh, Mr. E is just blaming this girl for, everything that happened, and that wasn't it at all.
In more shocking revelations, news has come out that popular professional player Anti has been dropped from esports team T1.
Hey yo, Anti's a pedo. Hide your kids.
Anti is a pedo.
Also, don't forget that Anti is a pedophile.
Damn, Anti is a pedo too?
Wait, what?
He just admitted to hooking up with a 15-year-old, and she lied and said she was 18? I'm not completely sure what to think. Please, someone tell me what to think! Technicals! Technicals, please tell me how to think! I'm a sheep!
You probably think this is a story of how our hero suffered great injustice, and how with the flick of a pen, it would reveal a truly innocent and free man. Unfortunately, unlike the filter I'm currently using for dramatic effect, the world isn't all black and white. There are no good or bad guys. Misunderstood, idolized, unsure, all infinitely better than the false dichotomy we feed ourselves to simply observe a complex world and a limited view. No, today there are no heroes, only a sad tale with a lukewarm ending. But nonetheless, I urge you to bear witness to the details of this case. And if by the end you don't see the truly ambiguous nature of justice, then I only wish I could have talked to you longer. I want everyone in the audience to go into this remembering that the people passionate about believe all victims and Me Too are how we ended up abandoning cases and fucking over a ton of innocent people in the first place. I'm here to offer you an alternative that's been tested and tried in the real world with surprisingly consistent results. It's called personal accountability and the judicial system. I know you're probably thinking, is this dude on fucking meth? That's never worked for anybody! Well, you base all your opinions off of twitlongers, which is why you're here in the first place. So take a seat, dumbass. Also, if you notice that my voice sounds a little bit different, it's because I've been congested recently. Just deal with it. Today we're talking about Anti, an ex-professional Smash Bros player for T1, a Tier 1 Korean esports organization. That would all, of course, come to an end after the series of events in July of 2020. Where multiple women would come forward with stories regarding his promiscuous behavior, the worst of which being a sexual encounter with a 16-year-old minor. But before I can discuss the details of that in full, I think it's important we see what the morally upstanding Smash community had to say first. The people defending you in the replies after this are part of the problem we face. I cannot believe you admit to committing a crime while claiming your innocence in this. You are a disgusting and vile person. Your sins may not be as severe as others that have been called out, but your character has shown to be just as disgusting. Anti really said, I'm innocent, and then admitted it. Hello, Street Fighter community. A smasher that recently admitted to pedophilia and other predatory behaviors is trying to take refuge in your community. His tag is Anti. You should probably do your best to excommunicate him from your scene before others see it as refuge too. Overall, I'd say this is probably the single most referenced case when it comes to Anti, with a primarily negative response. Although there are other stories I will be covering throughout this video, let's see what convinced an entire community that an abrasive top player was actually an alleged child predator. On July 2nd, 2020, a woman would anonymously post her retelling of her brief relationship with Anti over Tinder, and news would spread soon after exclaiming how Anti was a sick pedophile. Who's Anti? Anti, a Smash player that's been in the competitive scene for a while. He's also a pedophile who likes to molest children. She stated that after talking for a while, she expressed how she was 15. And Anti had convinced her to lie to other people about her age, which she was clearly comfortable doing, seeing as how she not only drank, but had sex with 3 other men by her admission. I said this before with Captain Zack, but if you repeat the same scenario 4 times, when does it stop being a mistake and start being a choice? It would also come out months later that her account of this story had a glaring inconsistency. She posted a censored picture of her ID onto Twitter, which showed that she wasn't actually 15, but in fact 16 when all of this occurred. While I agree that this doesn't make it much better, let's go over the main reasons why this is so important. According to Anti, this woman maintained that she was 18 even after his initial conversations with her.
The suspected 18-year-old from Twitter, did she maintain that she was 18 the entire time? Because on social media, I saw people like Tori Wavebird and Risu saying that they saw screenshots of her saying, oh, I'm 15, and you saying that you're 18 tonight. And you're actually trying to get the Tinder conversation, but they won't even give it to you, so you can't.
Yeah, Tinder told me that since the fact that there's no court subpoena open right now, that they cannot give me the information, and it can't go to court anymore because the statute of limitations for statutory rape in Florida is 3 years. So like the fact that they say that, and then the girl in the story, she posted a selfie of us at the venue in order to like substantiate her story. But why don't you have the screenshot of me saying that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, wouldn't it make more sense to post that instead of a selfie with us, you know?
You can't exactly sue a person for defamation if you can't even find them. I scrubbed the entire internet and there is no remnants of her social media accounts or her identity anywhere, except for a YouTube link that I found in her Instagram, but that just ended up being a 10-hour video of Waluigi. If this is true, even if someone were to try to prosecute him for this, one, it's not even illegal in the state of Florida, and even if it is, the statute of limitations has already ran up. And two, he was under the false pretense that she was 18, so an active motive of predatory behavior can hardly be established. This is further backed by one of Antai's acquaintances, who confirmed he had also matched with the mystery woman on Tinder, who had, again, maintained that she was 18 years of age. Probably because Tinder is an exclusively 18+ dating service.
On an app like Tinder, the assumption is that everyone is 18 plus. So do you think it's fair that people characterize you as a child predator even though you said that you got textual confirmation that she was 18? Because not everyone's just going to card someone even after they say, yes, I'm 18 years old, because that's just, it's not really a social norm if you think about it.
As you said, no one's gonna card people that they just met. It's Tinder, you know, it's an 18+ app. Where's the other people who are saying like I'm a minor and like try to hit on me and something like that? You know, it's like that was the only story about me with a minor and I got tricked into it. So it's like, where's the ongoing minors that like, I've been in the Smash community for what, 11 years? There should be at least like 11 more minors for every year, you know? It's like some shit like that. Like, it was only one situation that happened with a minor.
I don't see the, well, I do see the disconnect logically to say that Antai being lied to, still a child predator, but Nairo being lied to, he's a hero. Like,
it's also because Nairo's a loved player, and I've always been a hated player for my whole career. So it's like, there's definitely a bias to it, and no one can deny that. People just randomly have threads against me, talking mad shit, and it gets like 1,000 likes, you know? So it's like, people just didn't like me, and they seen this as a reason to like come at me even harder, and I got canceled for it.
But Tech, he still told her to lie about her age.
Oh, you mean the story that Risu vouched for? Because she's notorious for not lying about shit. What's crazy to me is that this woman posted zero evidence to back up any of her claims that already had verifiable holes in them. But when Antai makes a statement in his defense with screenshots, we need to slow down and wonder if he's lying? If this is the case, then where are any of the supposed conversations that took place?
I messaged Tinder. I tried to like get like the conversation that we had on Tinder, but the statute of limitations ran out, expired in 2019, and she came out in 2020. So I can't even take it to court anymore, but I could try for defamation, but I would still need the girl's name, and I can't find it anywhere. You know, I looked. So if you guys have the screenshot of me saying that I told you to lie about your age, please post it, because I can't post it, so I need you guys to post it. So please do that.
Y'all really gonna defend Antai with Florida law?
Yes. Are you genuinely asking if someone who was lied to is using the law to defend their innocence? I can't imagine how fucked convictions would be if this person was in charge. One day she'll be saying,
she was a minor, he's an adult.
And the next she'll be defending a 22-year-old's relationship with a 17-year-old and quite literally laughing at the idea of being called a pedo excuser. Just a quick side note, not a lot of people call Mars's girlfriend Okami a child predator. I wonder why that is. I absolutely love how people will tell you that Twitter is not a court of law, and then immediately in their next breath say that the law doesn't matter. What does that leave? Your feelings? Yeah, let's establish a court of feelings, because there's absolutely zero chance that could be worse than an official system of governing based off years of research. Well, Tech, what if it's an issue of consent? Here's what the woman involved had to say the day this all came out. Nobody said he maliciously groomed or raped anybody. I don't know where y'all are getting the word rape, but it was never used in anything I've said. Huh, so not only is it consensual, but it's entirely legal. Mr. E pointed out everything I just did in a twit longer, and instead of sparking important discourse on the topic, he was characterized as supporting raping 15-year-old children and lost his sponsor.
So, Mystery, what was your initial thoughts on the anti-case? Because I know you had a couple things to say about it.
My initial thoughts related to the incident with the young girl was honestly like, dang, how could Jason not ask for ID? If I was in that situation, I would have 100% asked for ID if I was suspicious of someone's age. So all in all, I was very disappointed with how Jason went about the situation. After thinking about it some more, I also understand that despite how obvious something may seem to many people, to others, they really might not see it that way. I can also see the perspective of someone thinking that taking someone's word of mouth is enough to like take their word for it. And I actually found out like after like searching like on the topic, I found out that many people actually refuse to show IDs or ask for IDs because of it being like a safety or like an intrusion, you know, type thing.
Yeah, sometimes Tinder is more like you want to get a one-night stand, and what if you give them a fake name, or that's not like your real profile? Do you feel after you addressed all these things, like what we just talked about, that you might have been misrepresented in your point or your views?
Some people definitely misrepresented me, which is why I'm never going to delete my post on the topic, so people can go back at any time and really analyze everything I said. What I said is there, and it's gonna stay there. But the thing is, I understand that like this topic, rightfully so, is a very, very sensitive topic. You know, despite that, that still doesn't give people the right to misrepresent me and what I was standing up for. And some people said that, oh, Mystery is just blaming this girl for, you know, everything that happened, and that wasn't it at all. The only thing that I was trying to, you know, draw attention to was that I don't think that Jason's actions justify the treatment that he was receiving from everyone. Under the consideration that he is telling the truth about not knowing her age, I chose to believe that there is a chance he really did not know the girl's age prior to him engaging in those actions with her.
Do you think it was fair that your sponsor dropped you because of this entire charade, like this entire situation?
In all honesty, although it sucks and I wish it wasn't the case, I do understand from a business standpoint, any type of bad publicity is bad publicity. I realized that before I made the tweet longer and just said, yeah, this is something I want to do regardless.
So you felt it was important enough to make a stand for?
Definitely, 100%. You know, not because he was like a friend of mine, but you know, he was someone that I deemed as mistreated, and I would do that for anyone.
I'm really glad that you came on here to talk to me about this, Mystery, and for what it's worth, I support you. I support you sticking to your guns and not like changing up just because of all the pressure that might come with talking about these situations, because it is really serious, and I think it's important to consider both sides at all times.
100%, man. Dude, thank you, man, for you know, hearing out, you know, my side and everything, and having me on. You know, thank you, I appreciate that. So
that's not to say that Anti isn't at fault here. Although she never stated that it was Anti providing her with the alcohol, allowing environments where underage drinking is condoned is entirely unacceptable, especially in a community of primarily children. Did you start patting yourselves on the back because you feel comfortable in pivoting from the child predator allegations to underage drinking? Well, don't worry, because I'm about to point out how you're all still full of shit. There's a big person we need to discuss now that most of you have convinced yourselves you actually care about underage drinking, and that person is MVD. On the same day that Anti was being lambasted by the entire internet, a twitlonger would surface regarding an allegation of rape against D1, an ex-professional commentator within the FGC. Inside the walls of text, it states that MVD was watching over an 18-year-old female member of the community that he had accompanied to a party. She would eventually ingest an unhealthy amount of alcohol, leading to the traumatic events that would transpire later that night.
I went to a party accompanied by Jesse, better known as MVD. MVD always kept a close eye on me and was always so protecting of me.
So that begs the question, if MVD went with her to the party and kept a close eye on her, did he just not care about her drinking copious amounts of alcohol while being underage? The answer is yes.
I did not give her anything. I did not. I don't know who said that, but I did not give her anything. I knew that she was drinking.
When probed further on the subject, MVD would admit that he strongly believes an 18-year-old is old enough to make their own life choices. While I can respect the sentiment, the state of Florida's legislature and most self-respecting adults would say otherwise. So how exactly did he get away with this? Well, if you look at the parts referencing MVD in the twitlonger, she goes as far as to call him a hero, and adds she specifically stayed silent for the sake of D1, the sake of MVD, and the sake of the community. Of course, this all all starts to make more sense once you realize they started dating 7 months after this happened. So it's not far-fetched to consider that she may have injected bias in her overall coverage to try and distance MVD from any and all critics. However, the point still stands that if you're okay with MVD contributing to an 18-year-old getting blackout drunk and raped at a party, then you don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to criticizing Anti.
I knew that she was drinking.
I pride myself in consistency, so in the case of enabling underage drinking and overall bullshitting, I find both MVD and Anti guilty.
Did you at any point attempt to get the suspected 18-year-old intoxicated with the intent of getting sexually intimate that night?
Nope, because I went to the tournament and there was a party on, I believe, Saturday at the tournament. I went and I drank there with my friends, with like my 21 plus friends. And she was my guest, so she came to the party as well. I didn't give her like liquor at the party. So I don't see why people are saying that, oh, you got her drunk. She didn't even say that she was drunk in her statement. So it's like people are just assuming that because they heard it from word of mouth.
I'm going to be entirely candid. I think the only crime you're guilty of here is probably something along the lines of underage drinking. I hope you've learned and like grown from this situation, because like that kind of shit, it causes nothing but trouble.
Yeah, I definitely feel as if I learned and definitely grew from all that. Right now, I just been talking to my close friends and just been chilling, working out, you know, like life been going well. So
while Anti has noticeably taken a step back to reflect on his actions and avoid from this ever happening again, MVD still thinks he did nothing wrong. You want to know why no one has criticized him for it? It's because if these Smash figureheads actually gave a fuck about underage drinking, then over half of them would be just as guilty. If you want to talk about creating an environment where these kind of crimes are facilitated, how about you start by looking in a mirror? Now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, it's time to do every detective's favorite job, and that is establishing motive. I only put these on for this quick shot. I actually can't see shit with these on, so I'm gonna take these off. Motive is the gateway for understanding any case, and when it comes to ones with as much volume as Anti's, it makes putting the pieces together that much easier. One instance that stands out more than others comes from Knives. She made a Twitter thread where her main grievance with Anti was the fact that he made advances on her, and before she left his hotel room, she agreed to a consensual kiss, which she later regretted and ended up crying in an elevator. She was also upset that she never received a formal apology, and was blocked on social media shortly after. How this doesn't trivialize all the actual sexual abuse stories coming out at the time, I have no fucking idea, and apparently neither does Knives, because she concludes her story half an hour later by saying, "I'm not claiming that I felt abused. This is just an example of Anti being sleazy, and it's not just a big conspiracy that women don't like him." Are you fucking serious? She verbatim states her motive at the end, and basically piggybacked off serious allegations so she could vent her frustrations with Anti. She even characterizes his private attempts to address these non-issues as an admittance of guilt itself.
So I noticed we were talking about Knives that posted the screenshot from you having a conversation with MVD, since they were obviously rooming together. Do you agree with her assumption that you trying to hash things out in private was an admittance of guilt on your part?
Yeah, so I feel as if it was definitely not an admittance of guilt, because in the DM I said, I just wanted to know if there's anyone that I pissed off or wronged in the past that I'm not aware about. That's a blanket statement. Like, you know, it's not like saying, is there anyone that I assaulted in the past? And like, it's not like that at all. So I just wanted to reach out to MVD and like try to work it out in private, but I guess they wanted it to be in public and just like have it be on the timeline, you know? So
it seemed like how they were explaining it, that you were trying to kind of manipulate the situation and scare some people that might come out with stories by reaching them before they reach the timeline. That's mostly what I picked up.
If they see it as that, then I never threatened anyone before in my life on Smash, you know? So it's like, I don't know why they would read it as if like I'm trying to like silence them before they come out, but I'm just trying to talk about it before it comes out, not be like, hey, if you do that, I'm gonna sue you or something like that, you know? It's like, it's not like that at all. So
if you really want to know her goal in doing all of this, just read the replies.
"I'm so sorry, love. This dude is such fucking scum, and I'm sorry this happened."
You even have disingenuous people like this saying that the entirely consensual kiss that she described herself was forced. Like, did you even take the time to fucking read what you're quoting? There's a very simple reason why something like this could affect a case as a whole. Multiple negative stories coming out about the same person in a similar time frame can significantly impact people's perception overall. When you consider that actually serious allegations were being dropped every other hour, it makes this tactic that much more nefarious. No one is saying that you can't be upset at Anti for being sleazy or a fuckboy, but there's a time and a place for everything, and that time certainly isn't when a case of statutory rape is being investigated.
Would you say that you were somewhat of a fuckboy?
With that being said, that leads us to the final 3 stories that have yet to be addressed in this video. This woman posted this an hour after the statutory rape case, basically saying that Anti was hitting on her until she got back with her boyfriend, at which point Anti blocked her and ceased all communication. I'm annoyed that I even have to say this, but this post is so fucking stupid, and there's absolutely zero reason this should even exist. No one cares if Anti was trying to get his dick wet and doing something entirely normal in the dating scene. This isn't some kind of mastermind manipulation, this is a guy trying to fuck. No one's buying this shit, stop. I think for now I've said enough. I'll let Anti respond to the last ones himself.
So there was an instance of you supposedly kissing a woman on the Evo floor without consent. Is this story true? And if so, what were the circumstances that led to that scenario even happening?
So it wasn't like the Evo floor in the venue, no. Okay, so it was at 3 a.m. at the bar of the whole, like the hotel lobby, I believe. It's a casino lobby, so it's like 3 a.m. is like 12 o'clock. We were all drinking and having fun and stuff, and then like we were talking for a little bit, and I thought we had a vibe going on, and then as we were walking to the elevators, I tried leaning for a kiss, and I guess she didn't like it, and then I stopped after that, and then she went to her room, and then 4 years later, took longer. So it was like, in a moment, I didn't think anything of it because I didn't really see like a oh my god, you tried, you know? And if I did, I would apologize right then and there. But she like said how like she seen me at events and like she was like afraid and stuff like that. But I was like,
and she never said anything to you, correct?
No, never.
About
it was only until I realized, seen all that on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I didn't know any of this, you know? I apologized to her as well in the DMs, but I think she didn't reply to that one, or she didn't see it. It's like,
yeah, you were a little buzzed, you know, you thought you were hitting it off, and you might have came off strong is what you're saying, but you would never know that because they didn't just come up and tell you that straightforward.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, they waited like 4 years later to post it on social media. Was there any visible struggle from the woman who claims that you kind of force-fed alcohol through a kiss? Because she was talking about how she was, like, moving her head away. So I'm asking, like, how is it possible that you made enough lip contact to actually pour alcohol in her mouth through a kiss?
Yeah, so there wasn't a visible struggle, but, like, I'm not going to act as if I'm completely innocent in that situation because I definitely tried to kiss her, and I already apologized to her for that.
Do you think it's fair that she characterized your concern for her as being more afraid than worried?
I asked her, are you okay? And I don't think that are you okay was as if I was trying to protect my own self, you know? I was just asking in good faith, you know? I still apologize to the girl because if she's uncomfortable, I can't tell her how to feel.
After she told you she wasn't interested in like pursuing any more relations that night, did you make any other advancements?
No, because in all these stories, you realize a theme where once they show that they're not interested, I stop completely. There was no story that came out where they said, I said no, and then he kept on pursuing further.
You even go far as blocking them, matter of fact, when they don't show like...
Some say that it was because of them denying me, but sometimes I unblock on Twitter just because I don't want to follow you anymore, you know? And I want you to follow me, so I unblock, and then they...
So it's like a soft block scenario.
Yeah, it's a soft block, but they leave out the soft on purpose, you know? They're like, he blocked me. But it's mostly soft blocks, you know? Once a girl says no, I just stop pursuing anything any further, you know? So it's like, that's a common theme in every story that goes on. It wasn't like, oh, I said no, and he kept on trying to like make advances on me. So I definitely stopped after she was uncomfortable.
Okay. So the group chat is a very common point of scrutiny against you because after everything started coming out, people saw that you were saying, oh, you were in a support group with like Nairo and Zero, who had also been outed at the time. What were the details of your discussions together, and what are your personal opinions on them as it pertains to the surrounding drama during the time period?
All right, so there was no group chat with those two. I misspoke in that video. I was saying that I was in group chats personally with my own friends to keep myself sane during all that. During that moment, I messaged each of them privately to make sure that they're not suicidal, you know, because being outed like that could push anyone to like the point of no return. So I messaged each of them. I didn't approve of anyone's actions during that whole time, you know. Anyone who got accused of like being a pedophile or like messaging minors and stuff like that, you know, that of course that shit's not cool, but like a person's still a person at the end of the day. I don't want anyone that like I knew to commit suicide. So
What primarily happened during the fallout of these allegations and the conversation that followed? Like, did you get any kind of harassment coming your way? Were people trying to deplatform you?
I actually had a lot of death threats, a lot of rapist, child predator comments, and someone even went as far as to like go on my Facebook, and I have my cousin like listed as one of my like family members, and like they messaged her all the stories about me and stuff like that. But like she understood the fact that someone went that far to do that. I was like, what the fuck, you know? It's like keep shit in the spirit that it was like having it, you know? Like don't try to like dig in my fucking private life and try to like make my family hate me, you know?
So they didn't only want you excommunicated from their gaming community, they wanted you to kind of be shunned by your own family because of this.
They pretty much wanted to force me into suicide, I feel like that, but I'm too mentally like strong for that. Imagine killing myself over like fucking Smashers, you know? So I pretty much moved on from all that shit, you know? It's like, but seeing some people who like I thought were like my good friends like talking shit, you know, it's like I was like, oh, but like we never had a single argument or a single like bad thing happen between us, but like they seen July happen and it was just like, oh my god, I knew he was sus, you know, I knew that he was like a creep. Oh, you were my friend this whole time without having any grievances with me, you know? So I think it's all fake, and but I really don't give a fuck about those people. So it's like,
if anything, it shows you who your real friends are now that have stuck with you here and actually want to see you have some semblance of a life after all this shit happened.
Exactly, because it was a lot of unfair stuff happening during that, and I'm more grateful for my people who like support me now than the fake friends who I had when I was on top, and you know, like T1 Immortals on my when I had clout.
Yeah,
So
essentially,
yeah, exactly. So now I'm trying to like rebuild on my clout and like try to like get my life back together. So let's keep moving forward from that.
Given the opportunity, would you ever try to make like a return to the Smash community, like what Nairo did?
I will 100% never step foot inside a Smash venue ever again. I will play the game on stream because like why not? I fucking bought the game. It's like it's my shit. In terms of like going back to what I was and like competing at tournaments and flying out everywhere and stuff like that, I'm never doing that again. Pretty much just due to like how I was treated, and then plus I want to grow up now. It's like I'm fucking 27. I'm old as hell now, so I want to just like grow and like evolve in other like ways, you know? So
I think a lot of people can sort of relate to that sentiment of being treated like shit and then people just got what the fuck. Oh my,
that turtle?
That's my new roommate. Any last words for the people looking in on this case and your situation as a whole?
Any last words? I would say that please wait for both sides of a story before you make a judgment. Like the first film that comes out is like, all right, we're on this now. The second one, oh, all right, we're on this one now. It's like, no, just like get all the information first before you make a judgment, and then just like try to look at the whole picture, you know? And then don't be biased against someone because you don't like them. Like facts over feelings, you know? Look at what actually happened and form your opinion on that, not because, oh, you know, this guy's a dick, you know, so he's probably guilty. Like that's not fair. You guys would be fucking terrible jury people.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a lot of confirmation bias is what we call it. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking with me. I hope we can, you know, get all this out soon. To everyone watching, make sure I will actually upload a large portion of Just Anti's interview so you guys can sit there and look at it in more of its own confined space. Yeah, well, thank you, Anti. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Technicals. Appreciate it.
I think if there were to be a moral for this story, it would be if you're going to hate someone, at least hate them for the right things. If you're going to make definitive statements on a serious topic, at least do the bare minimum research. This is a story of how a negative tidal wave of social media justice puts people through a telephone game ringer and spits out whatever narrative seems the most palatable. Anti was a fuckboy, and Anti did enable underage drinking, but that's not what people will tell you. Child molester, rapist, predator, all roll off the tongue quicker than the truth. I don't blame Anti for being upset about losing everything and lashing out at a community that was seemingly out to get him. I blame the community that supports some underage drinking while condemning others. I blame the community that supports some relationships with minors while condemning others. I blame the representatives that are quiet about some, yet vocal about others. If you truly want to regain any respect as a community, then I recommend you drop this charade you call accountability before I come for you next. That's all I had to say for now, but my work is far from over. Let's just say there's a dirty house that could still use some cleaning. Until next time.
I knew that she was drinking.